In My Hero Academia, if I was all for one, I'd be the definition of pissed. Because what do you mean, me, Mr. Self-Proclaimed Demon Lord, is currently having my century-long plan to rule Japan with every failsafe, every contingency plan, every backup upon backup that puts Batman to shame, currently getting finessed by a bunch of high schoolers and an old crackhead who has a grudge with the build of a goddamn string bean. I would quite literally be sick. But there was a time that this ancient relic quite literally ran the streets of Japan just for the damn fact that he could. This was the most entitled man you've ever seen in anime. He was moving like Mufasa, saying that everything the light touches is not ours, it's mine, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the strongest YN of all time in the My Hero Academia universe, All For One. So, we all know All For One, right? Big villain, big bad, whatever. But in this latest episode of My Hero, we've seen this Demon Lord's origin, and let me tell you, this gotta be some level of biblical greed that he's portraying, but you'll see what I mean in a little bit. So we start with this woman who works in an industry where, let's just say, there's a fair amount of red lights in her district, but she seems to be having some kind of protrusions coming out of her arm and is also most definitely pregnant. So yeah, it's a bit concerning when we see that she's pounding back a Corona right now in an alleyway, but all I'm gonna say is we can clearly tell that she is about the business of them kids. And it's a damn shame too, because it just so happened that the alcohol messed up one of those kids so badly that we ended up with All For One. So basically, in the early doors of society, when quirks were, around and people thought it was some kind of disease, we ended up with a class divide of sorts. We got the people with quirks, or the metahumans, and the people without them. So one day, we got a group of humans, a group of bums, actually, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, planning to jump some metahumans because of a bit of a kerfuffle the day before, and all of a sudden, they felt an aura, almost like impending doom, but they didn't think too much of it. There's a kid there. Who would think much of a kid? They said, let's just ignore this kid, huh? And it didn't end up too well. He laid out that entire squad like it was child's play. He was an actual toddler here, right? And he did it for no reason other than the fact that he just did it for the love of the game. But hell, apparently he was born that way. Yes, born that way. See, he took nutrients from his brother in the womb, and then to add insult to injury, when his mother died in childbirth, we're assuming that he then yammed her tata to get some kind of milk, which means that for some reason he was born with teeth. He's a demon. He's the strongest YN of the My Hero universe, so that's not too far-fetched that he was born with a set of just chompers, and then he took his own mother's quirk that he then used to just slaughter these people. So after the fact that his mother shuffled off of this mortal coil, and fast forwarding to the point that he's the devil's strongest soldier, he's been taking quirks and ending lives all in one amazing 2-for-1 special. Oh, and yeah, he's also treating his brother like his personal emotional support punching bag, right? But you know what? Bless Yoichi for trying to talk to his big brother like a human, because he's not. Look at his eyes. I'm damn near convinced the brother doesn't have a soul in the first place. But he, in a roundabout way, still felt like his brother had a bit of kindness in him, because he did take care of them when they had nothing, but again, abused him on the regular. So no, good sir, you were not trying to see the goodness in your brother. Your brother saw you as a newborn slave. You were the newborn slave to a newborn. How does that even happen? But one day they were chilling, just as siblings, and they were reading some comics, and All For One wasn't really about the fact that Yoichi was reading something without his knowledge, so he said, "Yo, what you reading?" And Yuichi just had to be like, I'm just reading some comics, bro. I can't really read in the first place, but the pictures are pretty cool. And then, you know, they sat down and they had a bonding moment for once. How cute. Well, after the fact, little did Yuichi know that his big brother took those manga panels a bit too seriously. And yeah, you guys know that luminescent baby that we talked about in season 1, and it kind of kickstart the whole, oh, quirks are this recognized ability for these people. Yeah, first recorded quirk. All For One got so annoyed that this kid's subscriber count was at 10 million. He just ended the kid's existence. He said, why the hell should he have that many people glazing him when they could be glazing me? I also took his quirk just to stun on these fools because I can, and that's just my mantra, my protege, right? Speaking of subscriber counts, you should probably subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I know you want to do that, or else I'll call my YNs. You know how they move. So after realizing how badly his brother was messed up, Yuichi started to defy him. Keep in mind, Yuichi was also presumed quirkless, by the way. So one day, his brother decided to have a bit of charity in his heart. He decided, hey, let's have another sibling bonding moment, shall we? But little did anyone know that Yuichi did have a quirk. A garbage quirk, but a quirk nonetheless, right? He had the quirk to transfer his quirk to another person, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's useful now, and that's how One For All was born. So after Yuichi was freed from prison by definitely not Bakugo and subconsciously passed on his quirk to this guy, they got the hell out of Dodge because I'm not sticking around to deal with the Demon King. But clearly, All For One just heard the whispers of betrayal, and he took a master class in Michael Myers' class for stalking because he walked them down. Quite literally, he walked all of them down. And he was like, oh, my brother doesn't want to be around me. Well, guess he gotta be removed from the census. No. This man popped his own brother like a balloon because he wanted to. Because he wanted to be closer to him. He didn't want this brother to have his own personality. No. On the contrary, if you even tried, I'm gonna delete you. And he did. He followed through, and he didn't feel a damn thing about it. You can't tell me that this is a normal functioning human being. In fact, he was actually more upset at the fact that he didn't get his quirk back that he gave his brother, right? And he didn't get to be with his brother forever and have him watch what he was doing. You see, he takes clingy and possessive to a whole new level. It's just a bit strange if I'm gonna be 100% honest. But yeah, he was kind of sat there after the fact, after those other two that helped free his brother got away. He was like, wow, that bitch ass, spiky haired prick took that damn quirk, didn't him? I hate him. I hate him in particular, cause he freed my brother. You know what? I'm gonna delete his entire bloodline. And he did! Right? He said your nonsensical nonsense won't continue through you if I'm around. Right? And he even took out every man and every, specifically, woman connected to him. Right? You could have just been a cashier that was friendly with him, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with the Antichrist because he has personal beef with you because you associated with someone you didn't think twice about. Right? It was a rough time to live in the My Hero Academia. Good God. Right? And All For One just went about his reign of terror for years, and he killed so many. His body count was astronomically high. He didn't think twice about ending a person. We see him in the modern era, and he's pretty tame when it comes to taking out people, right? Because he's this cold, calculating kind of guy. But back then, he was deleting people off the census just for the fun of it, right? All For One was an issue, right? If I hadn't gotten that across to you already, right, you should have gotten that in your head, right? He was the most diabolical YN of all time, right? I think we can all say that at this point, because we got some genuinely insane folks now that can only now contest with All For One. And come on now, we all know who that YN's gonna be. It's my king, my Baku goat, the great explosion murder god Dynamite, who quite frankly puts belt to ass on All For One, but that's another video for another day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I did hope you enjoyed watching this little video. It's just something I wanted to talk about watching the new episode of My Hero Academia. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Later.